Okay, we're here today. Today is the 12th of July, 2016. We just opened the 25-year time capsule for the city of Marietta. We have with us today Jerry Allen, first mayor of Marietta and the fourth fire chief, and Joe Perry, the vice mayor of Marietta, up on a corporation, and retired fire captain from the Marietta Fire Department. So we'll start with Jerry. What's your thoughts and what do you remember about the turbulent times leading up to cityhood?
Uh, it was basically the competition with Temecula, trying to beat them, and but then it was always the financial issues. Even before, with cityhood raising funds, if we recall, fire department had participated in the fundraisers. It would do protection, cooling people off and the like, down on the ranch, down off Adams.
Yeah.
And so it was, those were the memorable things, was how tough times were financially and trying to put it all together.
And Joe, your thoughts?
Well, not much. I'd say more than that. It was a lot of work. We talked to a lot of people, tried to do quite a few things to get things going, and just took a little time.
Yeah, it just
And
took a
like you
lot.
said, Jerry, Marietta Incorporated was a marginal city because we
Yes.
incorporated to keep from becoming part of Temecula.
Right.
And so,
And it, the reason, that I was involved so heavily and was coerced into running for council, if you check the Pat Merklin article, it'll say one term, that was all I was doing, was that the fire department, because of the impact mitigation fees, because we did fire plan checking for hydrant flows and access, we had all the plans coming in, both residential, commercial. So I had a database put together tracking that, so we make sure to get all of our money, doing all of our counts and everything, and that became a way to justify the that we could become a viable city. And it was touch and go. Christian and Wallace were doing the work on that, but we would supply them the data, and I could just remember doing almost every month. I would have to put together, sometimes less, a list of all the commercial. They were more interested in the commercial development, and I don't know where those slides probably don't exist, but it was before PowerPoint. I would cut out, colors for the green commercial and the residential and all of this, and then use an overhead projector to show different groups, chamber, the cityhood committee, Christian and Wallace, all these people were interested, and also the media about, where we're going to make it, literally where we're going to be able to be a viable city.
Yeah, everybody kept telling us that there wasn't enough money, we weren't going to be able to do it, we're not going to be able to survive. And every time we wanted to do something, we had to go back to the books and see if we had the money to be able to do it. So,
Yeah, it was once we incorporated something that Joe and I had discussed earlier, but the first city council meetings were in that room back there, not the training room, but that room that
It was the original training
offices.
room.
yeah,
And then when we incorporated, when we hired Jack Smith, we housed him in the little town hall building.
and Jack Smith
Yeah.
was the first city manager.
Jack Smith was the first city manager, first employee hired by the city, and that's where he was housed, in that little building.
and we had to talk like mad with the people to get the use of that building because it wasn't owned by the city or anything else. It was, what do they call it?
The Town Hall Association.
Town Hall Association, yeah.
Yeah. So I was our second city hall, sort of, and then we ended up buying that building on Corning, and finally had a real sort of city hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that took more than a year.
Yeah.
More than a year or so. Well,
Any other thoughts? I mean, both of you live out of town now and back after so many years. I know both of you have been floating in and out of here, but it's quite the different philosophy.
I read a fact about Marietta that for the past several years it has more population than Temecula,
Yeah.
and that just floored me.
I think it's 100 and almost 114,000.
Yeah, that floored me. But you drive through town, you can see. When I drive through town, it's like that's new, that's new, that's new. All of this growth. I mean, it well planned. The only thing that didn't work out was the Golden Triangle.
Yeah, I've started digging through my stuff, and I'm going to run it down, send it down to Pat. Things that I've
What's that? You got a
city and fire department stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you still have the badge that Gary Smith conned for us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got that. I've got one of the
I was gonna
small
give Pat's mine, I can't
Marietta
find it.
fire badges, fire captain badges that Marv gave me. The
Yeah,
little,
the little
pocket
tiny
one.
ones.
Yeah, I've got that.
Well, whatever you guys find, we will be
Yeah.
great to archive it, and it'll be on display.
You were with me, I think, weren't you, on Jack in the Box fire?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
I've
initialed it.
You
I've
took
got
the picture of that, Pat.
Yeah, I've got the big picture. I blew
Yeah.
one up.
And remember we were joking with Alex Messis, says, hey, I think we found this big long footprint like from a clown.
The cityhood, the stuff in the capsule looks pretty good. A good,
Very
good
impressed.
representation of what happened at the time, and
Some of it we can't look at yet,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping that, like lists of the committees are in there, a list of newspaper articles showing, how, I don't know, controversial the times were. You
Yeah.
had the Marietta Cityhood, what was that group? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, they analyzed, it was Brian Padberg's group, and they analyzed everything we did.
Yeah.
Can it be real? Can you do this? Can you? And it was called, what was the name
I
of it?
can't remember what it was, but they were always on
They
us.
challenged us during that time, during the pre-cityhood through the vote from LAFCO. We were constantly challenged, which was probably good. Can you really make it? Can you do this? Can you do that? Sometimes I thought maybe they were infiltrated from Temecula.
Yeah.
You can bleep that out.
no, that's fine because
But it, yeah, and I cannot remember what that group's name was.
I can't either. Maybe we'll find it in there because we'll have to.
We had a lot of discussions with them, and but the important thing was all of the cityhood committees, and it was hard to manage and really difficult to put it all together. Each council member had a group of committees to work with, and it just took a lot of time. You got a young family, you've got fire department responsibilities, and now you've got building the city up, and it was a tough time. Sharon felt I had a girlfriend down here, and it's a computer because I'd spend so much time on it.
Oh, the old
You
DOS
could ask her
system.
about that. I can say.
My only regret about the thing was leaving the city council early because I was having so much trouble with people here,
Yeah.
with me on the council and having to work here, that it was just,
Well,
Killing me.
that whole 92, 93 thing's probably
it was,
a time for a whole other interview with everybody
Yeah.
that
You don't
lived
lay
through
off.
those days.
And
And
many firefighters without controversy.
yeah.
And then this guy ups and leaves.
leaves you
Yeah,
hanging
well, I
out.
had to.
Forgiving you for it.
I couldn't live at home anymore. I had to leave. That's how bad it was getting.
Well, any final thoughts, Jerry, about where we're at today and where we were back then?
The city's very impressive. It's done, it looks nice out there, and just glad the time capsule worked. Thank you for all your work, you and Annette and
Yeah.
Ashley. It wouldn't happen without you guys, and you know that. When you were
Yeah.
visiting us in Texas, it was a dream. I mean, I asked about it, and I think you and Annette spearheaded and put it together.
Yeah.
I'd
And
forgotten
I'm
all
sure
about
Ashley
the
was
thing,
right
so-
there putting it together too. The city owes you a lot. The fire department owes you a whole bunch. I mean,
Yeah.
these people wouldn't be here, and I know that for a fact.
Well, in retrospect, looking at what happened, 25 years and what happened in 92, 93,
Yeah.
Chief Ferguson's founders' comments, I've heard him use that term before. And, pretty much respectfully from him that, his way of recognizing that we all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for
Yeah.
the people that did what they did when they did it.
Yeah.
And that's, falls on all
It's
of
good to
us
see the
and
fire department going, the police department still going, and
contract negotiation.
Yeah.
You talk about bare bones after the layoffs. I mean, it was Joanne and I.
Yep.
And two engine companies.
Two
with-
3-man engine companies, and it was
Yeah.
3-man.
3 2-man engine companies
Yeah.
and a shift.
open and closing
Captain.
stations.
That was, and then it was unfortunate, but you probably don't want to get into all of that.
Well, no,
stuff.
but the good thing, as a side note on that, we put out a lot of fire and we
Yeah.
didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah. As putting on the fire chief's hat, it was one of my
Pretty
biggest
frightening.
fears. You are responsible for all these people.
Yeah, it's a frightening
You've
deal.
been
with,
there and you know what it's
staffing
like, and that is a lot of pressure that nobody knows that you have. So that was tough.
I mean, it was before 2 in, 2 out, but we fought a lot of smart fires.
Yes.
And we
You had
were using crazily enough, we were using tactics 25 years ago
That
that they're
they're
just
now-
now, that they're
now
just now
doing,
talking
yeah.
about again.
Yeah,
About transitional attacks and all that stuff. We just did it because it made common sense to a bunch of country boys.
yeah. Yeah, it was, all the way around, but fire department was a key. Marv made a comment that'll have, probably close it out. And people were talking about, gee, there's, 2 firemen and a CHP officer on the council now, and Marv said, well, you're lucky I didn't run all 3 or all 5 firemen. We probably would have been elected.
Yeah.
Because we were,
We were the police
instrumental in the city.
department of the time.
Yeah.
You got trouble? Why call the sheriff? Call the fire department.
Yeah.
Well, and
Because they show up.
that's the tradition that even Joe
Before-
passed
yeah.
along. We all passed along.
Yeah.
Marietta Fire Department was a full service fire department,
Yeah.
and we would solve your problems.
Joe
Even
could-
back in the days prior to no law enforcement.
Yeah.
And so later on, the department still does that kind of
Yeah.
work, regardless.
Well, Joe, he knew I was, at the time, early on here, I was still working in the sheriff's department in LA County, and so Joe knew that, and we would take care of people.
Yeah.
A few incidents, but you police your community,
Yeah.
and
That was the only form of government. The only reason why the city was able to incorporate, even though we hit the skids a couple years later. But the police department owes its origin to the fact we were already here, and the fact that people on the city committee, local control, was the big deal.
local
Had
control.
their own fire department and now their own police department. Where the city, even though a lot of the funds go directly toward police and essential services, we're better for it.
It's a safe city. It has a good reputation, but it grew out of Temecula affected a lot. And I think I've explained that to you that the
Yeah.
Corporation of Temecula just sucked the law enforcement resources of Riverside County out.
Yeah.
We had none here. We were pretty much without law enforcement, and related at one time.
Mhm.
I called we had a fire at Temecula Hot Springs, and nothing available, and so that was pretty well sure that we were not going to
Yeah,
have
and
a
from the
contract.
potential council responsibilities as public safety, then
Mhm.
you said, okay, now we know where this lies, and
It's
well,
been,
I guess we'll have to
good
wrap it
time.
up. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words for the future generations? 50 years from now, 25 years from now?
just hope that the community spirit we saw then and we saw it here stays, both with police, fire, the community. It's always been a very special place for that. It just didn't have enough open grassland for me.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Ashley.